Okay, so we'll start. सर्वेभ्यो नमस्काराः। अद्य सिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः अच्सन्धिप्रकरणे सवर्णदीर्घसन्धेरारभ्य पठामः। नर्तनमिति किमपि न कृतं मया अद्य, किन्तु गतकक्ष्यासु वृद्धिसन्धिः ततः पररूपसन्धिः एङि पररूपम् इत्यारभ्य पररूपसन्धिः अधीतः। एतावत्पर्यन्तं पञ्चसन्धयः अधीताः। इको एणचि इति एण् सन्धिः, आद्गुणः इति गुणसन्धिः, वृद्धिरेचि इत्यारभ्य बहुभिः सूत्रैः वार्तिकैश्च वृद्धिसन्धिः, एङि पररूपं ततः ओमाङ्गोश्च इत्यादि शास्त्रैः पररूपसन्धिः, एचोयवायवः इति अन्तवान्तादेशसन्धिः इति पञ्चसन्धयः समाप्ताः। वस्तुतः अच्सन्धिप्रकरणे प्राधान्येन सप्तसन्धयः सन्ति। सवर्णदीर्घः, वृद्धिः, गुणः, एण् सन्धिः, ततः यान्तवान्तादेशः पररूपं पूर्वरूपं चेति। तत्र इदानीं सवर्णदीर्घसन्धिः आरभ्यते। सवर्णदीर्घसन्धिः अपवादसूत्रम्, अपवादः वस्तुतः गुणस्य यणश्च यणः च अपवादः भवति सवर्णदीर्घः. As I told earlier, akasavarna dirgha, the savarna dirgha sandhi is an exception. It is an exception to guna and it's an exception to iko enachi end sandhi. Akaha savarne dirgha iti sutram. त्रीणि पदानि सन्ति. अकः सवर्णे दीर्घः इति. इको एणचि इत्यतः अचि इति अनुवर्तते. एकः पूर्वपरयोः इत्यधिकारः अस्ति, तस्मादयमपि एकादेशः इति ज्ञायते. अकः इति पञ्चमी अक्वर्णात्, अक् इति प्रत्याहारः, अ इ उन् ऋ ऋक्, अ इ उ ऋ ऋ इति पञ्चवर्णाः सङ्गृहीताः. एतेभ्यः वर्णेभ्यः सवर्णे अचि परे इति सप्तमी, सवर्णे इति सप्तमी, अचि इति अनुवृत्तस्य विशेषणं सवर्णे अचि, अर्थात् सवर्णसम्यके अच् वर्णे परे. अकारः, अकारस्य सवर्णे अचि अर्थात् अकारे परे इत्यर्थः फलति. सवर्णे अचि परे दीर्घः इति प्रथमा विभक्तौ विधेयः. दीर्घः आदेशः भवति. पूर्वपरयोः एकः आदेशः इत्यस्मात् अकः सवर्णे अचि परे दीर्घः एकादेशः स्यात् इति सूत्रार्थः फलति. क्वेश्चन? Oh, okay, sorry. Actually started without the Mangala Shloka. Sorry. येनाक्षरसमाम्नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्. मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते. Can you see my screen, Ravi? Akasavarne dirgha?
Yes, Soumya, I can.
The whole slide? Right?
Yes. I think Yulia's connection is probably slow.
Oh, okay. So, fine. Oh, I don't know why the whole slide is on my computer, Yulia, and I think others are able to see the whole slide. Maybe with time you should see it. Anyway, I'll go slower, but let's see. अकः सवर्णे दीर्घः. अकः अक्वर्णानां सवर्णे अचि परे दीर्घः एकादेशः भवति. अर्थात् अक्वर्णस्य सवर्णे अच्वर्णे परे पूर्वपरयोः स्थाने यः अक्वर्णः अस्ति तस्यैव दीर्घः. When an ak is followed by a savarna, so there is only one dirgha. The dirgha of that particular letter, of that particular ak, will be the adesha. This is what the sutra tells. Oh, sorry. What's this? Sorry. Please take off that 1 second. सवर्णसन्धेः उदाहरणं पश्यामः। दैत्य अरिः, दैत्यानाम् अरिः इति समासः। द एनिमी आफ् डीमन्स्, दैत्य अरिः इति स्थिते अकारात् अकारे परे, अकारः अग्वर्णः तस्मात् अकारे अर्थात् सवर्णे अचि परे, अकार एव सवर्णः। अकारस्य 18 प्रभेदाः परस्परं सावर्ण्यं प्राप्नुवन्ति, तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णम् इति सूत्रेण। तस्मात् अकारात् अकारे परे पूर्वप्रयोः स्थाने दीर्घः, अकारस्य दीर्घप्रभेदः अर्थात् आकारः आदेशः भवति। The two aks, that is the ak which is the purva varna and the savarna which is the paravarna, both of them are replaced by akara, the dirgha. Daityarihi iti rupam. Ata eva savarna dirghah iti sandhehe nama. Because when it's followed by a savarna, the dirgha will be the replacement. Evameva shri ishah shrishah. Dirghah hrasvah iti bhedah nasti. It does not matter whether it is dirgha or hrasva because everything is a savarna of each other. श्रियाः ईशः श्रीशः ईकारः, ईकारस्य सवर्णे अचिपरे ईकारः. So if you notice the daityarihi, the a plus a, the savarna dirgha when akara is followed by a savarna is an exception to adgunah. अवर्णात् अचिपरे गुणः एकादेशः स्यात् इति आद्गुणः इत्यनेन उच्यते. तस्य अपवादत्वेन अकारस्य सवर्णे अचिपरे दीर्घः विधीयते. श्री ईशः इति तु इको एणचि इत्यस्य अपवादः. इकः स्थाने यण् स्याद् अचि, ईकारः इक् तस्य अचिपरे यण् स्यात् इति यण् सन्धिं बाधित्वा अनेन सवर्णदीर्घः क्रियते. तस्मात् सवर्णदीर्घसन्धिः अकारस्य विषये गुणस्य अपवादः, इग्वर्णानां विषये यणः अपवादः. विष्णु उदयः विष्णुदयः, विष्णोः उदयः इति समासे उकारात् सवर्णे अचिपरे ऊकारः आदेशः भवति. इदानीं दीक्षिताः प्रश्नं पृच्छन्ति, अचि किं कुमारी शेते. अकः सवर्णे अचिपरे इत्युक्तम्. अचि इति पदं किमर्थम्? अकः सवर्णे परे इति अलं खलु. He says, isn't it enough if he says when ak is followed by a savarna? Because the savarna of akara will obviously be only akara. We have najjhalau. Najjhalau says ajjhaloho parasparam savarnyam nasti. It says there is no savarna between ach and hal. So the savarna for an ach letter, that is the savarna for ak, will automatically be an ach by itself. It has to be a swara. The savarna for a swara has to be a swara by the niyama najjhalau. So it is enough if we say akaha savarne pare when ak is followed by a savarna, and the savarna will automatically be an ach. So why should you still specify achi? Why should we take achi as an anuvritti from iko enachi? Is the question. Hope the question is clear. Even without the word achi, we still have the same meaning. Akaha savarne pare dirghaha ityukte akvarnanam savarnaha achvarnaha eva bhavitum arhanti. Najjhalau ityanena acham halam cha parasparam savarnyam nishiddham. Tasmata akaha savarnaha ak arthat ach eva bhavitum arhati. Achi iti prathak vaktavyam nasti iti prashnasya ashayah. That is what the prashne means. Achi kim? Why should we specify ach? The Dikshita example gives us Kumari Shete. Iti udaharanam. Kumari Shete. Atra ikarah asti. Ikarasya shakarasya cha savarnyam asti. If you remember the discussions we had with Tulyasya Prayatnam Savarnam and Najjhalau, we said if we say na ajjhalau, ajjhaloho parasparam savarnyam nasti iti nishedhah bhavati chet, a, I, u, r, r iti hrasva varnanam हला सह सावर्ण्यं निषिध्यते. दीर्घ वर्णानां हल्भिः सह सावर्ण्यं निषेद्धुं न शक्यते नाज्झलौ इत्यनेन. Najjhalau can prevent savarnya only between the ach of Maheshwara Sutra, that is a, I, u, r, r, a, o, I, o, and the hal of Maheshwara Sutra. Why is this so? Because we saw the krama. Ado varnanam upadeshaha, upadeshotara kala itsamya, इत्संयोत्तरकालं प्रत्याहारः, प्रत्याहारोत्तरकालं सवर्णसंज्ञा सवर्णसंज्ञोत्तरकालं सवर्णग्रहणं the savarnagrahana, that is anudit savarnasya chapratyaya, can apply only after tulyasya prayatnam and najhalau have been concluded. That is only after we get the meaning of tulyasya prayatnam savarnam and najhalau. So when we are still deciding what is savarna, we cannot use anudit savarnasya chapratyaya. Why do we need to use anudit savarnasya chapratyaya? When we have akara, there is one akara which was told in the Maheshwara Sutra. Adau varnanam upadeshaha. A, I, U iti varnaha upadishtaha. Upadeshottarakalam itsamya. Nakarasya, kakarasya ityadinam itsamya. Tatah pratyaharaha. Tatah savarna samya. Now the next step is to give the name savarna. Akarasya akarasya cha hrasva akarasya dirgha akarasya cha savarnyam asti iti uchyate tulyasya prayatnam savarnam sutrena. Akarasya hakarasya cha savarnyam nasti ityuchyate najhalau iti sutrena. So tulyasya prayatnam and najhalau are the steps where we decide what is savarna. Once we know what is savarna, anudit savarnasya cha pratyayah iti sutrena anna ityukte akaraha ityukte ashtadasha prabhedaha iti grihyate. But at the stage, at the level of najhalau or tulyasya prayatnam savarnam, a means only hrasvakara, a means only dirghakara. There is no savarna grahana. If there is no savarna grahana, najhalau can prevent savarna only between ach, that is a, I, U, R, R. The hrasvas which are told in the Maheshwara Sutra, and the hal. As a consequence, for the dirgha varnas, for a, I, U, R, we still have savarna with hakara, shakara, shakara and sakara, not sakara. Ha, I, U, R. Sorry. Shakara, shakara and sakara. Sakara, correct. Shasha, saha. Right. Ushmavarnanam dirghaswaranam cha parasparam savaranyam asti. Najhalau ityatra akarasya prashleshena akarasya hakarasya cha savaranyam nishiddham. Because of najhalau, we can conclude that the akara is not a savarna of hakara. But even at this stage, we still have savarna between ikara and shakara, rukara and shakara. Right? So now, kumari shete ikaraha asti, akaha ikaraha ak, akaha savarne pare. If you just tell savarna, then since we still have savarna between ikara and shakara, we should get savarna dirgha sandhi here also. If ach is not told, achi iti yadi na uchyate, tarhi kumari shete ityatra ikarasya shakare pare ikara shakarayoho parasparam savarnya sattvat atrapi savarna dirgha sandhi prapnoti. Tasya nivaranartham achi ityuchyate. Shakaraha ach na bhavati. Since shakara is not ach, so we can prevent savarna dirgha sandhi here by saying ach. Even though there is savarnya, there is no achtva, so we will not get the sandhi. Najhalau iti savarnya nishedhastu na dirgha shakarayoho. Dirgha ikarasya shakarasya cha savarnya nishedhah nasti. Kimartham? Grahanaka shastrasya. Grahanaka shastram nama anudit savarnasya chapratyayah iti savarna grahakam sutram. Tasya savarnya vidhi nishedhabhyam prak anishpattehe. Why? Because when we are in savarnya vidhi nishedha, that is when we are dealing with tulyasya prayatnam savarnam and najhalau, tatah before that grahanaka shastrasya anishpattihi, the anudit savarnasya chapratyayah is still not born. That is, you cannot go to grahanaka shastra unless this is clarified. So kumari shete, if so ikara and shakara are savarnas of each other, to prevent savarna dirgha between ikara and shakara, we use the term achi in the sutra. Akaha savarne achi pare dirgha ekadeshah syat. Is that clear? Or should I explain again? Does anybody have a doubt regarding this? Because it was a thing which we discussed long ago, so I repeat it. If you have any doubts, you can always ask. Hello. Hello. We discussed that in the class when we did this, because we don't need to prevent savarna dirgha, we don't need that savarna nishedha between akara and hakara, but there are other cases like vishwapabhihi, vishwapa vis akarantasya vis prattaye pare hodhaha ityanena dhatvam prapnoti. If akara has savarna with hakara, then there are other cases where problems arise. If we have vishwapabhis, like we have lihbhis becomes lidbhis, the hakara at the end of a pada will get dhatva. So if akara is a savarna of hakara, then akaranta shabdas would also get dhatva by hodhaha. So to prevent that, we need the akara prashlesha in right. Any other questions? No? Can we move on? Right. Atra अन्यः अपि प्रश्नः स्यात्. अकः किं हरये. अकः सवर्णे दीर्घः. अकः सवर्णे अचिपरे. अचः इति नोक्तम्. अर्थात् अच्वर्णस्य सवर्णे अचिपरे दीर्घः इति नोच्यते. किमर्थं? हरये. हरे ए इत्यस्ति. एकारस्य सवर्णे अचिपरे, एकारे परे सवर्णदीर्घः न भवति. केवलम् अक्वर्णानाम् अ इ उ ऋ इत्येतेषां सवर्णे अचिपरे सवर्णदीर्घः. अन्येषाम् अचाम् ए ओ ऐ औ इत्येतेषां तु सवर्णदीर्घः न भवति. तस्मात् अकः सवर्णे दीर्घः इत्युच्यते. दीक्षिताः वदन्ति अकोकि दीर्घः इत्येव सुवचम्. Dikshita says it is enough if Panini had said akoki dirghaha. Panini sutra as it states now is akaha savarne dirghaha. Yes, Panini need not have told that savarne dirghaha. He could have simply told akaha aki dirghaha. Akvarnasya akvarne pare dirghaha bhavati. Yatha sankhya manudesha samanam ityanena yatha sankhyattvam siddhyati. Akarasya akare pare dirghaha. इकारस्य इकारे परे दीर्घः इत्यादि अर्थः सिद्ध्यति. तस्मात् अकस्सवर्णे दीर्घः इत्यस्य अपेक्षया अकोकि दीर्घः इति वक्तुम् उचितम् इति दीक्षितानाम् अभिप्रायः. This is Dikshita's opinion that Panini could have told akoki dirghaha. Why? Because this is shorter than akassavarne dirghaha. We always look at the laghava. How shortly, how compactly can we put something? So akaha savarne dirghaha. There is one extra. The savarna has so many letters. Instead of that, he could have told akoki dirghaha. Akaha aki pare. When an ak letter is followed by an ak letter, you will get dirgha. Using yatha sankhya manudesha samanam, we could say akarasya akare pare. It is not that there will be savarna dirgha when an ak letter is followed by any ak. It has to be the same. Like we did with halo yamam yami lopaha. Yamam yami means when one yam varna is followed by the same yam varna, then only we get lopa. Similarly here, when an ak letter is followed by the same ak letter, which will mean the savarna ak letter, then you will get dirgha. So this could have served our purpose as well as akasavarne dirghaha does, is what Dikshita feels, right? So this has not been told in the Bhashya. This is Dikshita's own opinion. Right. Idanim Riti Savarne Rva Akasavarne Dirgha Ityanena Uktam Daityarihi Shrishaha Vishnudayah Akarasya Ikarasya Ukarasya cha Udaharanam Dattam. Idanim Rikarasya Savarne Pare Kim Bhavati iti Prashnaha. What happens when Rikara is followed by a Savarna? So there is a Vartika which tells Riti Savarne Riva. Kaha arthaha? Rikarasya Savarne Pare Vikalpena Rikaraha eva Adesho Bhavati. When Rikara is followed by a Savarna Rikara, then by Akasavarne Dirghaha would have got a Dirgha Rikara as the Adesha. But this Vartika tells there is a R as the Adesha. If you have Hotr ऋकारः ऋकारस्य ऋकारे परे ऋकारः आदेशः भवति. So you still have होतृकारः by riti savarne riva. Since this is vikalpa, va, optional sutra, when this does not apply, we still have savarna dirgha. When savarna dirgha happens, we have hotrikaraha. There is a dirgha rikara. There is an option where there is a rikara. This is not actually rasva. We'll see about this rikara later. He says riti savarne riva. Tenena hotrikaraha. Va ityuktvatvat vikalpena r iti adeshah bhavati tasya abhave r iti dirghah akassavarne dirghah ityanena dirghasya adeshe hotrkarah iti रूपद्वयं सिद्ध्यति. एवं ऋति सवर्णे ऋवा इत्यपि वार्तिकं. ऋति सवर्णे ऋवा ऋति सवर्णे ऋवा इति वार्तिकं. होतृ ऋकारः ऋकारस्य ऋकारे परे ऋवर्णयोः मिथः सावर्ण्यम् अस्ति. तस्मात् सवर्णे ऋकारे परे विकल्पेन ऋ इत्येव आदेशः भवति. तदा होतृकारः. तदभावे दीर्घः ऋकारस्य दीर्घः नास्ति. लवर्णस्य 12 तस्य दीर्घाभावात् इत्युक्तं. तस्मात् अत्रापि ऋकारः एव आदेशः भवति. पक्षे ऋकारः सावर्ण्यात्. होतृकारः होतृकारः. See that when r is followed by either rikara or rikara, both cases the dirgha, the adesha will be r, dirgha rikara by akasavarne dirgha, because rikara does not have a dirgha prabheda of its own. So the conclusion is when rikara is followed by rikara, then there are two forms. One is a form with a dirgha rikara and the other one is a form with rikara. Similarly, when rikara is followed by rikara, there are two forms. One is a form with a dirgha rikara and the other is a form with rikara or rikaraha. Now, what we did here in these two articles, the adesha which we had, riti savarne riva, riti savarne riva, iti aksharadvayam vidhiyate. There are two adeshas which are mandated by these vartikas, which is r and l. There is a speciality about these letters. Okay, though we write it like the original swara. I mean, the l here and the r in the previous vartika was written as the. It looks like the usual r and l, but they are special letters. This has been discussed in the bhashya, and this is a something very special. Okay, he says that this rikara, the rikara which is the adesha here, and the rikara which was adesha in the previous vartika, these two are not simple letters. Okay, they are actually a combination of letters. Okay, riti ruva, riti ruva iti ubhayatrapi vidheyam varnadvayam dvimatram. They are actually two matras. They are letters with two matras. Okay? The original swara is only one matra. The r is also only one matra. But the adesha which is being given by these two artikas have two matras. How is it two matra? Is adyasya madhye dvau refau tayor eka matra abhitaha ajbhaktehe apara. This is something which is very difficult to comprehend and also to explain. These words are called Narasimha Varnas. That is, they are like Narasimha. That is, he has a part which is Nara and he has a part which is Simha. Like that, these two letters have one part which is Hal, which is a consonant, and another part which is a Swara. He says, Adyasya Madhye, that is the R which you have, Riti Savarne Riva iti yaha adeshaha vidhiyate, tatra Madhye dvau refau. There are two refas in the center of that varna. I mean, if you can imagine something like a sphere, in the center you have two refas which together form one matra. Each Vyanjana is half a matra. So put together the two refas form one matra. Abhitaha, surrounding that, ajbhaktehe apara. There is an ach, which is the rikara, which has one matra. So put together it has two matras, is what they say. This is all very theoretical. Do not ask me to demonstrate how you have either a repa or a rikara there. I do not know. But this is what has been told in the bhashya also. You say there is one hal, the hal part inside will have one matra, and the ach part which is covering it has another matra. So put together it has two matras. Okay, so this is different than the original rikara, the swara which has only one matra. Right? So similarly, dvitiyasya madhye dvau lakarau shesham pragvat. Arthat, in the second one, which is this l, in the center of this letter you have two lakaras, yarala, two lakaras. Put together it is one matra. Surrounding that is a swara, which is the rikara, which is one matra. So it is a dvimatraka adesha. The adesha here, both adeshas are two matras. This is a dirgha rikara, which is a two matra. This is a narasimha rikara, which has two lakaras plus one likara. Similarly, in the previous case, you have here it is a dirgha rikara, which is two matras. Here it is a narasimha rikara, which has two rephas surrounded by one rikara. So which is again a two matra adesha. The adesha still is dvimatraka. Is what say. The riti riva iti ubhayatrapi vidheyam varnadvayam dvimatram. Adyasya madhye dvau refau tayoreka matra abhitaha ajbhakteha apara. Dvitiyasya madhye dvau lakarau shesham pragvat. अर्थात तयोरेका मात्रा अभितः अज्भक्तेः अपरा मात्रा. इह उभयत्रापि ऋत्यकः इति पाक्षिकः प्रकृतिभावः वक्ष्यते. In both these cases, that is when you have ritiruva and ritiluva, that is when rikara is followed by rikara, all rikara, there is one optional prakriti bhava which will be dealt with later. This we had seen in some other case also, when uparchati and prachati. Rityakaha, when an ak letter is followed by rikara, there is an optional prohibition of sandhi. That is, when you have hotru plus rikaraha, there are three forms. When you do riti savarne riva, you get hotrukaraha. When you do akas savarne dirghaha, you get hotrukaraha. When you do prakriti bhava, that is when no sandhi is done, there is a form called hotru rikaraha. Similarly, when rikara is followed by rikara, riti savarne riva ityanena hotrukaraha. Akas savarne dirghaha ityanena hotrukaraha. Prakriti bhavaha rityakaha iti prakriti bhavena hotru lukaraha iti rupatrayam api sadhu. So we end up with three forms. Correct. Rikara and likara are savarnas of each other. So Subramaniam's question is why when he says riti savarne, you can also consider rikara, or when he says riti savarne, you can also consider rikara. Right? So that is not actually true. When there is a separate nirdesha for rikara and rikara, it means that you take only rikara by rikara and rikara by rikara. But when there is a general nirdesha, we take both rikara and rikara together. So it is all depending on the shastra. So even in dhatus, we have some which have rikara as anubandha and we have rikara as anubandha. So in those cases, their territory does not merge completely. The territory of rikara and rikara is separate in some cases and it is merged in some cases. So where do we consider rikara and rikara together and where not? We have to depend on the commentary, on the Vyakhyana. Right? So there are cases where the Vartikakara himself tells it is the Vartikakara who told Rilrivarnayoho mitha savarnyam vachyam, and again he says here Riti savarnel riva and Riti savarnel riva. Okay. So actually in the Bhashya there are two pakshas. There is one paksha which says let's have savarnya between rikara, likara and take off these two Vartikas, and there is another which says let's have these two Vartikas and take off Rilrivarnayoho mitha savarnyam vachyam. Which means that the two are not compatible with each other. And the Nirnaya in Bhashya is actually to take off these two are not needed. We can take Rilrivarnayoh mitha savarnyam vachyam and these two Vartikas are not needed is what the Bhashyakara says. But the Vartikakara has told all three Vartikas and the Kaumudi gives all three Vartikas, so we actually study them. Do we need all three or not is a question which is for higher study. which we'll study sometime hopefully, right? Well, such arguments are not for a Kaumudi class. Sorry, the Bhashya goes on for a long time discussing why are these two needed or is that needed. And finally, as I told, the conclusion of the Bhashya is different than what the Kaumudi gives. So, in the Kaumudi, I think we'll stop here. We'll just study the three Vartikas and see what they mean. So, is this Vartika actually needed or does it suit it? Is for a different discussion, right? Akasavarne dirghaha agre engah padantadati पूर्वरूपसन्धिः सन्धेः सूत्रं भवति एङः पदान्तात् अति पदत्रयमस्ति एङः पदान्ताद् अति अमिपूर्वः इति पूर्वसूत्रात् पूर्वः इति अनुवर्तते कः अर्थः पदान्तात् एङः इत्युभयमपि पञ्चमी पदान्ते यः एकारः ओकारो वा एङ् प्रत्याहारः ए ओङ् 2 letters a or o. This is at the end of a pada and it is followed by ati iti saptami taparakaranam taparastatkalasya. Hope you remember, whenever there is a taparakarana, only the savarnas of that particular kala, that is if it is a hrasva, only the hrasva akara would be taken. So ati ityukte hrasva akare pare padantad engah hrasva akare pare. When an eng letter at the end of a pada is followed by hrasva akara. Purvaha अर्थात पूर्वरूपं पूर्वे यः वर्णः एकारः ओकारो वा स एव एकादेशो भवति. Then both the letters will be replaced by the purva letter, which is either a or o. पदान्तादेङः अतिपरे पूर्वरूपं एकादेशः स्यात् इति सूत्रार्थः. हरे अव इत्यस्ति. हर ए अव पदान्ते एङ् हरे इति एकं पदं सुप्तिङन्तं पदं सुबन्तत्वात् हरे इति पदं पदान्ते एङ् वर्णः तस्मात् ह्रस्वाकारे परे अतिपरे पूर्वरूपम् अर्थात् एकार एव आदेशो भवति हरेव इति रूपम्. The actual form after during Purvasubsandhi is only this ha-re-va. But the usual practice of writing this is putting one S mark in between, which is called an avagraha chinha. Right? So this is actually not needed, not technical, not specified anywhere in the grammar granthas. So this is just valid. Hareva is the valid rupa. But we do put, there has been a practice, which is a recent practice, of putting an avagraha chinna to denote Purva Rupa Sandhi. Whenever we do Purva Rupa Sandhi, to denote that there was an akara there, we have this practice of putting this avagraha. But please note, this does not change the pronunciation. Hareva is the pronunciation. There is no hare ava. Right? So this is still hareva. Okay? And it is also not a rule that wherever you see this chinha, it has to be Purva Rupa. Okay? In high schools, that is what they teach generally. If you see this S mark, put it as Purva Rupa, which is not correct. This mark is also used sometimes in Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. It just indicates an akara or an akara. When we do Savarna Dirgha between Dirghas, there is a practice of Dirgha akara. Say Vidya Alayaha, there is a practice of putting an avagraha chinha there also. Okay? So this does not mean anything. Right? But it is generally a clue that it could be a Purva Rupa Sandhi. That is all. Correct. Vishnu ava echoyavayavaha ityasya apavadaha. Somebody asked me, when echaha achipare ayavayavaha, there should have been yantadesha or vantadesha as the adesha, but Purva Rupa is an exception to echoyavayavaha. Vishnu ava okarat achipare atipare hrasvakare pare okara eva adesho bhavati. Vishnova hareva Vishnova echoyavayavaha ityasya apavadaha. Right? Sarvatra vibhasha goho. So actually we finish Achsandhis with this. Okay, and he moves into the realm of Prakriti Bhava. Okay, these so far mentioned are the sandhis. Yan, Guna, Vriddhi, Pararupa, Yan, Antavantadesha, Guna, Vriddhi, Pararupa, Savarna Dirgha, and Purvarupa. These are the 7 ach sandhis. So here we finish whatever Panini has told about ach sandhis. Right? Next, we move on to the next thing. The next chapter is Prakriti Bhava, ach sandho Prakriti Bhava. That is the prohibition of sandhis among swaras. So in between that, there is one shady region, which is we are just entering the Prakriti Bhava. Sarvatra Vibhasha Goho. Padatrayam asti. Engah padantadati iti anuvartate. Prakrityantah padamavyapare ityatah prakritya ityapi anuvartate. Sarvatra arthate loke vedecha. Sarvatra, here Sarvatra means everywhere. That is in both classical Sanskrit and in Vedic Sanskrit. Padantad engaha goho. Engantad go shabdat padantad. If there is a go shabda, at the end of which there is an eng, that is okara. Go is obviously always ends with o. If there is a pada, at the end of a pada, there is the eng of go shabda. Ati arthat saptami hrasvakare pare prakritya prakriti bhavaha bhavati sandhihi na bhavati. I forgot the trartha here. You can look into your books. It says loke vedecha engantasya gohu ati va prakriti bhavaha syat padante. Loke vedecha, in Laukika and Vaidika Samskrita, engantasya goho. Go shabdaha engantaha bhavati chet. Ati hrasva akare pare va prakriti bhavaha vikalpena prakriti bhavaha bhavati sandhihi na bhavati kada padante padasyante bhavati chet. Udaharanam go agram gohu agram ityasti. Go shabdat agra shabde pare ओकारः अस्ति. गो शब्दः एङन्तः पदान्तञ्च अस्ति. तस्मात् अतिपरे प्रकृतिभावः. If you prevent the prakriti bhava, the rupa is go agram. Right? If, since the prakriti bhava is optional, if the prakriti bhava is not there, that is, if the prohibition is not there, then you can do purva rupa sandhi as gogram. Engaha padantadati. Padantadengah atipare पूर्वरूपं भवति इत्यनेन गोग्रम गो अग्रम इत्येकं रूपं गोग्रम इत्यपरं रूपं. Va vibhasha. There is a question of why use vibhasha when he could have used va. Panini has used 3 words for vikalpa, which is va, vibhasha and anyatarasya. Is there a difference between these 3 or is there not? Is a question. There are modern grammarians who say there is a difference when he uses vibhasha, when he uses va, anyatarasya. And there are traditional scholars who say there is no difference. Paryaya padeshu gaurava laghava charcha nadriyate. If it is a paryaya pada, that is synonyms of each other, then it does not matter if he uses a longer one or a shorter one. There are 2 terms here. So for now, for us, vibhasha only means va, which is optional. Can there be a meaning why he used vibhasha instead of va? Is for further study. Go agram, gogram iti rupadvayam. Mentioned, he does not say avagraha. No. Kaumudi, the question is, does the Kaumudi mention avagraha? There is no, he does not say avagraha. The current printed books use avagraha. We do not have anything which Dikshitar wrote himself, so we do not know if he used avagraha. But avagraha chinha is a practice which is pretty recent, past 200 or 300 years. Okay. So in today's books, we do see the avagraha chinha. Whether Dikshitar intended it or not, we do not know. Right? Go agram. Sarvatra vibhasha goho ityanena vikalpena prakriti bhave prapte go agram. Prakriti bhava bhave purva rupa sandhau krite gogram. Okay, we have one more form. Okay, before that, engantasya kim chitra gogram. Why does he say engantasya goho? is there a need to mention that when go is enganta? Because go is always okaranta, which is always enganta. So why to specify engantasya goho? Yes, chitragvagram. Chitragu agram. Chitraha gavaha yasya saha chitraguhu. Iti bahuvrihi samase. The go shabda gets a hrasva and the okara becomes u. Here it is still go shabda, but it is not enganta. Since it is not enganta, we do not get the prakriti bhava here. The prakriti bhava will occur only when the go shabda is enganta. That is, it ends in okara. Padante kim goho. There is also one more condition mentioned in the sutra. It says, engantasya go shabdasya goho prakriti bhava syat padante. Why does he say padante? Go as go iti shabdat panchami ekavachanam. Panchami vibhaktehe ekavachane engantah go shabdah asti tasmat ati hrasva akarah api asti kintu padantatvam nasti. This is not padanta. The whole thing, goes is a pada. The only go here is not a pada. Since it is not a pada, we will not get prakriti bhava here. It will be pararupa and you get goho. Right? So there are two conditions in the sutra, both of which are essential. One is the go has to be enganta, and the second one, it has to be padanta. Right? Next, aparam sutram asti avang sphotayanasya. Sphotayanah nama kashtana acharyah. Spotayana is another Vaiyakarana. In his mata, Spotayanasya mate, ati iti nivrittam, achipare. So this follows actually Sarvatra Vibhasha Goho. And he says, Spotayanasya avang. According to Spotayana, when Go Shabda is followed by any ach, we get avang as the adesha. In the previous sutra, when Go Shabda was followed by Hrasva Akara, we had Prakriti Bhava. Here, when Go Shabda is followed by any ach, we get avang as the adesha. Avang ityasya ngitvat antadesha bhavati. Go agram ityeva asti. G o agram. Padante okaraha. Achipare avadesha bhavati. Gava agram. इति जातम् अवङ् आदेशे ओकारस्य अवङ् आदेशे गव अग्रम् ततः सवर्णदीर्घे अकार अकारयोः सवर्णदीर्घे गवाग्रम् इति रूपम्. So actually you have three forms. One is prakriti bhava go agram, tadabhave avang adeshe gavagram, tasyapya bhave, since it is only according to Spotayana, it is vikalpa. Avangadeshasya bhave gogram iti purvarupam. So we have three forms. Gogram engi pararupam ityanena purvarupam. Gavagram avang sphotayanasya ityanena avangadeshah. Go agram sarvatra vibhasha goho ityanena prakriti bhavaha. Go is a subanta. When we do a samasa, the samasa is always between subantas. The question is, how did go become a subanta here? Or how is this a padanta? I told in the previous slide, when you have go shabda and as pratyaya, it is not a padanta. How is it a padanta here? This is a samasa. Goho agram gavagram. Samase subantayoreva samasaha. Any samasa is always between subantas. Why we do not hear the sup here? We do not hear the pratyaya because the pratyaya is deleted, but still by pratyaya lakshana we have the sup here. This is padanta. In any samasa, the padas, the individual padas, individual components is always a pada. So this is a padanta. You'll see this when you come to samasa. There is much more to a samasa than what we see. You don't just put go and agram together. You have to put gohu and agram together, take off the pratyaya and retain the pratipadika and then do the sandhi. So here it is actually a padanta. Right? Any other questions? Three forms. One with prakriti bhava, one with avangadesha, and the other with purvarupa. Clear? One more sutra. Well, okay. Padante kim. Again he asks, why say padante? Gavi, go i इत्यस्ति गो शब्दस्य सप्तमी विभक्तेः एकवचनम् इ इस् द प्रत्यय ङि ओस् सुप् इति प्रत्ययः अत्र गो शब्दस्य पदान्तत्वं नास्ति. Here go is not a pada by itself. The entire thing gavi is a pada. So when it is in between a pada, we do not get avangadesha. We don't even get purva rupa. None of these apply if it is within a pada, right? The engi pararupam is also for padanta. Avang sphotayanasya is also for padanta. Sarvatra vibhasha gohu. Sarvani sutrani padantasyeva. Tasmat padamadhye echoyavayavaha ityanena avadeshe gavi iti rupam siddhyati. Vyavasthita vibhashaya gavakshaha. Now there is a question where you have a rupa called gavaksha, which is go and aksha. Just like we had gavagram, there is another samasa, go aksha. Now the question is, do we get three forms here? In gavagram we had three forms, gogram, go agram and gavagram. What happens in gavaksha? Do we still have three forms? Question is no. There is only one form, which is gavaksha. How do we do this is the question. The answer is vyavasthita vibhasha. Asking wherever there is a vibhasha, there are some cases where it is purely optional, but there are some cases where vibhasha indicates that not an option. What it indicates is, in some cases it is optional, in some cases it compulsorily happens, and in some cases it compulsorily does not occur. Means there are some forms in which there is an option. That is, you have both gavagram, gogram and go agram. That is the whole prakarana. Vibhasha is optional. It means a simple option. But vibhasha also carries another meaning, where when he says vibhasha, it means it is optional for some forms, and for some forms it is not optional, depending on the prayoga. Always for Vayakaranas, prayoga is what matters. Prayoga sharanaha Vayakaranaha. Yuktatvat prayoga manusritya, according to prayoga. In some prayogas it is optional. In some prayogas it is nitya. That is, avang spotayanasya is nitya, will compulsorily occur in a few forms. Like gavakshaha. Go aksha, avadeshe, avangadeshe krite gava aksha, savarna dirgha sandhau gavakshaha. So in case of gavaksha, we do not have either gokshaha or go akshaha. So how do we decide this is all commentary. Vyakhyana manusritya, prayoga manusritya kriyate. So whatever we say grammar, even though it tries to be complete, there are some prayogas which are always outside the real, which we always have to go for some other techniques, like what the Bhashya says or what the Vartika says. So vyavasthita vibhashaya gavakshaha means because of a vyavasthita, that is, it's a ordered vibhasha. There is some rules for the vibhasha. It's not a complete option. There are some forms where we have to compulsorily do the avang. One such form is gavakshaha. Go akshaha. Avangadeshe krute gava akshaha. Tataha gavakshaha. Go akshaha iti va, gokshaha iti va na bhavati. So in gogram we have three forms, but the same thing in gavaksha we have only one form, because that is the only form in use. Finally, that's the only answer you can give, because shishta prayoga is only gavaksha. Nobody has used go akshaha or gokshaha. That is why those prayogas do not exist. Vyakarana always supports the existing prayogas. It does not question, you cannot use Vyakarana to bring in forms which have not been used, is the traditional siddhanta. Right? Last sutra of Achanti Prakarana is Indrecha. Goho ityanu vartate. Avang spotayanasya ityataha avang ityanu vartate. Goho avang syad indre. Indra shabde pare go shabdasya avangadeshaha syat. Compulsorily. The avang spotayanasya is a vikalpa. There is an option. So this says compulsorily you have avang, go indraha, gava indraha, gavendraha. Gunasandhau krite gavendraha iti rupam siddhyati. Okay, any questions? I'm sure there are at least 2 or 3 questions which should arise in the last 3 sutras. When we did Avangspotayanasya, Sarvatra Bhasha Goho and Indrecha, there are 2 points which I skipped deliberately. So just think over and see if you can come up with any doubts. There's definitely a few things which are not very, you can definitely get a few doubts. So if you have the doubts, I'll answer. Otherwise, perhaps in the next class, I myself will raise the doubts and answer. Okay. So any doubts for now? No? Can we stop? येनाक्षरसमाम्नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतास्म मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते. So we finished the Atsandhi, which is quite a huge prakarana in Kaumudi. We have done 4 prakaranas, sorry 3. Samya prakarana, Paribhasha prakarana and Atsandhi prakarana. The next prakarana happens to be Atsandhau Prakriti Bhavaha, the prohibition of Sandhi among Atsandhis, which is Prakriti Bhava. But that class will